Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Man, oh man, oh man. I honestly feel like we have surpassed the point in which we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I think we've gone past that point. Now, not necessarily in the exact same type of tensions. They're not, we don't have silo doors opened and major cities targeted. I mean, we probably do, but, it's a different situation, but in my opinion, it's much worse. Much of the Cuban Missile Crisis and other incidents during the Cold War largely revolved around miscommunications, misunderstandings, just general being an asshole. But it really wasn't for anything tangible, anything material, for the most part. A lot of it was banter, words, aggressions, if you will. This is not the same. Of course, I'm referring to the not just one pipeline that was damaged, but both pipelines, Nord Stream 1 and 2. I have been running these scenarios through my head all day long. And I'm sure many people have. And I love the devil's advocate myself because that's how I get to the bottom of things. And any angle I come at it from, I cannot see what happened being beneficial for Russia. Not directly. Indirectly, yes. Directly, no. And I sit there and I think about the countries, all the different nations, and I ask myself, okay, let's do a little bit of old school detective work here. Let's start off with, we'll take myself. Do I have the ability to get 300 to 400 feet underwater and blow up a huge section of pipe? That would be a negative Ghost Rider. I do not. Do most nations have the ability to dive 300 to 400 feet underwater and take out a huge section of pipe? The answer would be negative Ghost Rider. There are only a select amount of countries that have the ability to even get down there to play games. So we can narrow down a lot of our suspicions just with that alone. And when you look at everything involved, nobody over there stands to benefit from this. Nobody. I mean, like I say, indirectly, in the long run, Russia will, because this adds many facets to their case. But the EU doesn't win. Germany doesn't win. None of these nations over there win by the loss of those pipelines. That's a fact. Now, while I will make the argument that the EU and the UK and every nation on that matter should work to become energy independent on their own, unfortunately, many countries will have to go through a process to get there. Well, they're going to go through a process. How rough the process is remains to be seen, but first of all, they put themselves in this situation. Well, how could you say that? Well, they're the ones that delegated so much power and control to Russia. That's their fault. They are the ones that outsource their energy. Nobody else's fault but their own. But now they're stuck in a position to where industries are going to have to shut down. This is going to be a massive health crisis, meaning a lot of people are going to die if they don't have heat, or if they're heating their home improperly and die of carbon monoxide poisoning or fire or what have you. All these things really start stacking and adding up during these types of events. A whole lot of people actually perish from using unsafe methods of heating. You have to take that, per capita kind of, you know what I'm saying? You have to think about, well, and there is no clear answer to this, but roughly how many people are there that are heating their house in an improper manner, in an unnormal manner, and you got kind of a relatively small number to work with there. And then when you look at the percentage of those individuals that have accidents, whether or not death's involved in it, it's a significantly high number. So that's why it's imperatively important that you know safe ways to be able to stay warm during the winter. However, more back to the point at hand here, I don't think Germany, I don't think the UK, I don't think the EU, I don't think they're responsible. I have ran through this through my head a million times, at least. There is only one country that it even remotely makes sense would have hit those pipelines. And I'm sure you know who it is. Because, see, we're not dependent. I'm not saying that we haven't bought oil or any other type of energy from Russia, but we are not dependent on Russia's energy. I mean, don't misunderstand me. What's going on is going to hurt you just as bad as if they did, right? There's not going to be any difference to your wallet. We need to understand that part of it. Let me give you an example. A real life example. So, I don't know, yesterday, day before, and possibly even, in fact, I'm sure, even as far back as last week, and I can't remember the nation or the region, either one, I don't remember, but there was an area over there across the pond that is looking at toilet paper shortages. I know I've brought it up at least 2 or 3 different nights in the past week. I'm talking about part of last week as well. So, it's getting about time where we need to, look at placing our order for toilet paper. As I've said a million times, we buy toilet paper by the case, typically 80 rolls, sometimes 96 in a case. And that's how we buy toilet paper. And it covers us for a little over 2 months. And so it's getting time to start looking into getting some. So Jim was looking today, and the toilet paper that we would normally find for anywhere between $40 and $50 for a case is typically around $66, $70, somewhere around in there. For most of, so between $65 and $70 for most of the cases of toilet paper. The reason why is because a bunch of companies started to export toilet paper to these countries that are having the shortages. Why? You think it's to be nice? No, because our prices got jacked up. Their prices are getting jacked up. The sellers are making record profits off of this stuff. And I'm not saying, hey, make those people go without toilet. I'm not saying don't help those people. That's not my point. My point is, you shouldn't have to pay more out of your pocket because they're sending goods and goods other places. That same thing goes true with oil. You name it. But that's what they're doing, and that's why your energy prices are higher right now. That's why your toilet paper prices are higher right now. It's all because, well, you're being a nice guy and gal. You're just kind of forced to be a nice girl and boy, right? I sure in the hell didn't get the opportunity to choose. Nobody asked me whether or not I wanted to start shipping billions of dollars of weapons to Ukraine. Sure, that crap didn't come past this desk because it would have died at this desk. I'm telling you, this isn't going to be just left alone. And I think this rings true whether or not, and you guys know, I try to remember to always make this point because I don't know. And I want to make sure that you know that I don't know because I don't want you to know either. I know, that don't sound right, right? Here's the thing. None of us know whether or not this is just a dog and pony show, whether or not it's a circus sideshow that we're watching and all the world's a stage, or whether things are actually as they appear and blah, 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 right? We don't know. There's no way for us to know. There's just truly no way for us to know what is real, what is not, what is war, what is rumors of war. There's just no way for us to be able to decipher it. That's the whole plan, is to have us so confused we don't know which way is up. So that's just part of their plan. Our important part of that is not to let ourselves get emotionally wrapped up in that and get scared and get angry and just not be able to function in a logical manner because we're all wrapped up because nothing makes sense. Everything's topsy-turvy. And, left is right, right is left. You know the drill. Man, I'm telling you. Whether or not what we're seeing is the true case of what's happening between nations or not, this is going to be used for an escalation. And I don't think it's going to be a minor escalation. Why? Because what happened is not a minor thing. Here's the thing that pisses me off about all of this. Now, that's if we just take it for what we see. Okay? If I'm just taking things for what I can see, what's out there, here's what I see. You have the United States using every bit of weight in every direction that it can in predatory business. It's not that the United States wants the EU and the UK and all these nations over there to be energy independent. If you think the United States wants them to be energy independent, you got another thing coming. They don't want those people energy dependent. They want those people energy dependent on the United States. And that is the battle. Who gets the check for supplying those nations, those regions with energy? Russia? United States? We see this in so many industries. I've called it out heavily in the drone industry just because that's what I've seen it happen in right in front of my face. That was a good part of Orange Man's doings. There was this thing some time ago, and I'm sure you all probably remember the headlines about DJI drones and, fear-mongering that they're, more or less spying or collecting some type of information. And there was no security risk with DJI drones. That is nonsense. To think that there's more of a security risk with an item that you use once in a while versus an item that you have in your hand almost all the time, like a cell phone, you got to be a complete tool. All that was about was predatory business. There are so many markets that the United States can get a foothold on because, to be quite frank, we don't make a product worth a damn. I can't help that. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit there and stroke some company that isn't performing. Sorry. There's a couple of drone manufacturers in the United States. Skydio, Autel, and they suck. Plain and simple. They suck. They're getting better. They have their good points and their bad like anything else. But when you stack it up, when you just put it side by side, just without playing any games, DJI just blows them out of the water for two reasons. Number one, their products have more options that work better. Number one. And that should be something, I would think. And number two, cheaper. The United States, they gouge the hell out of you for their drones. Because you're buying everything separate. Yeah, you buy the drone, and then you buy your controller. Yeah. They might finally have a kit, a set, I don't know, but when I looked at them, you bought everything separate. I think with the drone, you might have got a battery. I think. And that's even questionable. But you damn well didn't get the remote. That was Autel. I'm pretty sure Skydio's the same way. I think Skydio, when you buy like the main package or whatever, I don't think you get a remote. I think you get their stupid little beacon thing. And you get the drone and the beacon. The beacon is just something that it follows. So you can like stick the beacon in your pocket and get on a dirt bike and go hauling ass through the, trails in the woods or whatever. This drone is supposed to be able to navigate through that woods without hitting a tree, and a good idea. Keep working at it. You need to really keep working at it. But it's advancing. And, technology, sometimes it just takes time. That's just the way it is. All right. We don't need no hookers here. No hookers. Okay. Sorry, I had to take care of hookers. So anyway, we just don't make a comparable product. We just don't. I'm not just trying to piss on the United States. That's not my goal here. I want us to make a good one, but I'm not going to lie. So anyway, that's what that largely has to do with, because think about that. There's a whole hell of a lot of government agencies, because let's face it, the United States is a government monster from hell that just continues to expand. And amongst all the 50 billion different organizations and administrations and spin-offs of each and every one of those, anytime there needs to be something that needs to be ordered, there typically needs to be a bunch. In other words, what I'm saying is if all the outfits that had drones used drone technology, all the government agencies across the country, If they all had to buy drones at once, that would be a pretty significant number of units. I think the idea in these politicians' minds are if they can force those products to come from the United States, then the United States businesses are the ones to benefit. And I get it. Partially. I don't get the be stupid part of it. But, okay. I get the idea of, wanting to wave the flag and keep the business here. Yeah. But don't you think that, you kind of need to consider the quality of the product you're getting? And that's where the problem lies. Because these politicians, they don't know technology. What they know is payoff. That's what they know. They know how much money they're getting paid off in order to have what stance on this particular issue. That's what they know. They don't know the technology itself. So these morons don't have any idea that these drones are junk. Or, I won't say junk. They're not what they're cracked up to be yet. Give it time. I'm not saying they never will be or anything like that. But I'm just saying right now they just aren't there. But these politicians don't know that. And, this is the type of stuff that's ruined this nation. It truly is. When we know about a problem and we just keep covering it up, hiding it, not accepting it, just ignoring it, the problem don't go away. It just builds. That's much what the situation with Russia is. Russia didn't just come out yesterday and say, hey, you're getting a little close to my borders. Could you back off a little bit? Now, mind you, Russia's not the nation that's got military bases scattered all about the planet, all over the place. Not Russia. And I'm not defending anybody. I don't have to take a side, and I'm not taking a side. Bullshit. That's one of the biggest deceptions mankind has, is that you have to choose a side. No, you do not. If both choices are evil, you absolutely have the choice to abstain. I'm telling you, the situation just kept progressing. And I think now we've reached a point to where I think Russia has been poked. And I think this crosses a line. Because again, this is actual, tangible, physical damage. Do I think at some time tonight, around dark 30, the arrows are going to start flying? No, not even close. At least I hope not. But I can't tell you that dark 30 your power ain't going to go out. That I'm not confident enough to tell you. I think that there will be repercussions to what happened in that pipeline. I think those repercussions are going to be felt here. And I don't think it's going to be on a small scale. I don't think it's going to be anything other than the loss of the grid. I don't know if it would be the complete grid, just part of the grid, but I have a feeling that we're going to have a grid problem coming up real quick. So just keep your eyes open for that. Keep yourself ready. Keep yourself prepared. Make sure batteries are charged. If you got power banks, go through, make sure they're good to go, they're working, functioning properly, make sure they're topped off. Just do the things. I think we are getting extremely close to go time. Again, this is huge. It was no easy task to destroy those pipelines. And it's no easy task to fix them. And I don't see this just being, who cares? Well, somebody's going to pay for this. And I don't think it's going to be the EU. I don't think it's going to be the UK. I don't even think it's going to be Ukraine. I think it's going to be the US. And I think the US is going to, it's going to be made to where the US squarely feels it. Putin's not an idiot. Again, I'm not taking a side. I'm just looking at things. I mean, come on. Putin's not an idiot. Whatever that thing is that is in our White House nursing room apparently is. I don't know what to tell folks other than make sure you're ready to go. And don't trust anything. Because we are getting so many things thrown at us, so many curveballs. It's really hard to know exactly what's going on. But there is a part of the equation that doesn't change. And that's our part. Our part of the equation stays the same. We're the ones that are going to feel the brunt of whatever it is that does happen. Either way, that's going to remain true. And how much we do or don't prepare for that is going to directly affect how we fare in that. And that doesn't change either. That still remains the same. Those are the things I urge you to focus on. Focus on the things that are obtainable, and focus on the things that's going to bring you direct result. And in this instance would be stocking, storing, learning, you name it. Just make sure you're continuing to get on it. Because, this could go pretty quick. This could go pretty quick. We shall see. Wow. Sat there and jabbered. I do have tabs open. As usual. Most of them, though, I'll be honest, dealing with the pipeline. All but 2. I've got 7. 7 tabs open. All but 2 has to do with the pipeline. So, but I'm just going to kind of glaze over because we done talked about it, and just repeating the stuff you already know about is not going to do anybody any good. Yeah, I'm sitting there. Yeah, fuck it. Turn your head if you don't like it. There we go. Scooby snack. Let's see. Russian gas pipelines could have been sabotaged, says Tagesspiegel. And I'm sure I say that way wrong. But, again, we've already kind of talked in depth about this. Hang on, I'm looking. I'm trying to think of which one would be the best. Okay. I think I know. Okay, so we'll just go with headlines. The third one I run into is the one that I'll actually read. But Russian gas pipelines could have been sabotaged, of course. Sweden issues warning over Russian gas pipeline. More or less, they're just saying Sweden's maritime authority sent out an alert on Tuesday over 2 leaks on the Russian-owned Nord Stream 1 natural gas pipeline in the Baltic Sea. And, of course, you know the story with that. This one here says Russian gas pipeline suffers unprecedented damage, says the operator. This article here says the simultaneous destruction of 3 gas pipelines in the Baltic Sea is unprecedented, their operator Nord Stream said on Tuesday. It declined to provide an estimate of when they might be functional again. Hooker! Hooker! No, Hooker! Get out of here, Hooker! Okay. Let's see. The hooker's been hooked. Let's see. Nord Stream 1 had been supplying gas to the EU until late August when Russia slashed deliveries, citing technical difficulties resulting from Western sanctions. By the way, for those that can't see the chat later on, the hookers were in the chat. People go, what the hell is that dude? He took a pinch hit and then he's talking about hookers. What in the hell is he smoking? Anyway, the destruction that occurred on the same day at once on 3 strings of the offshore gas pipeline in the Nord Stream system is unprecedented. It is not yet possible to estimate the timing of the restoration of the gas transmission infrastructure, the company said. On Monday, Danish authorities spotted a gas leak near the island of Bornholm in the Baltic Sea and closed off an area of 5 nautical miles around the site. The discovery came shortly after the unused Nord Stream 2 pipeline suffered a drastic loss of pressure overnight. German and Danish authorities are investigating the incident. Nord Stream spokesman Ulrich Lissek said a large bubble field near Bornholm was spotted, adding that the pipeline was never in use, just prepared for technical operation and therefore filled with gas. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Sweden's Maritime Authority also reported leaks on the Nord Stream 1 pipeline northeast of the Bornholm Island in Swedish and Danish waters, Reuters reported, citing the country's officials. There are 2 leaks on the Nord Stream 1, one in the Swedish economic zone and one in the Danish economic zone. They are very near each other, a Swedish Maritime Administration spokesperson said. As the German Tagesspiegel newspaper reported on Tuesday, Nord Stream pipelines may have been damaged as a result of attacks. A pressure loss in the 2 gas pipelines that occurred in a rapid succession could have happened due to a targeted action, it said. Experts say repairs on both pipelines could take up to several years. Lissek warned that it would be complicated to determine the reasons for the drop in pressure due to the sanctions regime and the lack of personnel on the ground. So, again, this really doesn't benefit anybody but the United States. It certainly doesn't benefit anybody over in the EU and the UK. Certainly doesn't benefit Russia. There is only one way that Russia benefits from this. And that is how they look on the global stage, the public opinion. And to be real honest, I don't think this is going to change much when it comes to that. You know what I mean? I think pretty much everybody on the planet pretty much has the same attitude, right? I think most of us believe that we should just be able to live life, be left alone, live peaceful, be able to provide for ourselves and our loved ones. Pretty simple. And so there is no one, for the most part, in these nations that are wanting these types of things to happen. These are the things that are wanted by rich people that don't have to feel the pain as a result of their own actions. I really do think this is going to lead to conflict. I think this is I think this was a line in the sand that can't be backed up over. We shall see. Let me have a couple of vapes and we'll continue on. Oh, man. Did some more testing today. Fun times. Pretty much stuck on the same issues, but waiting on an update. That's all I can say. Neener, neener. Oh, man. Swedish experts report explosions at Nord Stream pipeline sites. Just a real quick rundown here. Scientists in Denmark and Sweden registered underwater explosions near the Nord Stream pipelines on Monday, when several major leaks were reported. Sabotage is now believed to be behind the damage. There is no doubt that these were explosions, seismologist Björn Lund of Sweden's National Seismology Center told public broadcaster SVT on Tuesday. The Danish military released aerial footage of the leak showing large spots and visible bubbling in the water. Nord Stream 1 suffered 2 leaks northeast of the Danish island of Bornholm, while Nord Stream 2 was damaged south of Diode, a beach located at the island's southernmost tip, the military noted. Earlier in the day, Moscow said it had been looking into the reasons behind the leaks, suggesting that pipelines were targeted in an act of sabotage. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that currently no option can be ruled out on the causes of the incident. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline was completed in 2011. Anyway, that just goes into the history I hate repeating. But, and I don't know about you, but I got an image in my head when I read the headline about the United States speaking out on the claims of sabotage. And instantly, before I could even have a chance to look at the picture on the article, all I could see was Camel Toe Harris cackling. I'm serious. I'm not joking. Literally. I'm serious. That is the very first image that came to my mind was Harris cackling. Just like Hillary. Remember Hillary? Yeah. Same thing. I don't know why. Call me odd. I am odd. But yeah. U.S. speaks out on claims of sabotage of Russia's Nord Stream. Commenting on reports that the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines have been disabled by sabotage or deliberate attacks, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Tuesday said that such an attack is in no one's interest. He added, however, that the current situation represents an opportunity for Europe. Huh. Kind of funny how they just turned that around, ain't it? Isn't that funny? How they just turn that around and flip that upside down? Right? Huh. Interesting. In no one's interest. Well, that's not quite true now, is it there, Mr. Blinken? It would be in the United States' interest on several levels. It's crazy. Oh, and the opportunity for Europe? Oh, no, you mean the opportunity for the United States. What you're calling an opportunity for Europe is just Europe to buy their energy from us. That's their opportunity. Goes on to say leaks are under investigation. There are initial reports indicated that this may be a result of an attack or some kind of sabotage, but these are initial reports and we haven't confirmed them yet. But if it is confirmed, that's clearly in no one's interest, Blinken said during a joint press conference with the Indian External Affairs Minister, Dr. Subramaniam. I can't even try that last one. I'm surprised I got what I did out. Who is visiting Washington. Following up on the question, Blinken said the U.S. priority was to impose a price cap on Russian oil exports and surge supplies of liquefied natural gas to Europe. The U.S. became the world's largest LNG exporter this year, partly due to the embargo against Russia imposed by Washington and its allies. While there are clear challenges in the months ahead in terms of Europe's energy supply, there is also a very significant opportunity to do two things, Blinken pointed out. The first is to finally end the dependence of Europe on Russian energy. Okay, again, let me rephrase that. The opportunity is they can start buying their energy from us. That's that part of the opportunity. The second is to accelerate the transition to renewables. You know, the same thing that's got them by the titty right now. To so that the West can address the climate challenge. Yeah, because, yeah, sure. I cannot stand it. When people put money over humanity. That probably rubs me wrong more than anything else on this planet. Again, I have to repeat this. I do not think that this is just going to be let go. And unfortunately, looking at all the wargaming that I possibly can in my head, to me, the most feasible response would be to hit our grid. I think right now, this particular moment, that's what I would tell people to be prepared for. Believe me, they'll be able to get to the bottom of this. And the thing of it is it may have not, those explosives or whatever, it may have not been something that was just put there. There could have been explosives that were put on those pipelines way back when they were out doing the, defusing mines and getting the mines out of the area. They could have rigged the pipelines then. So, it's hard to say. But once again, I just take a look at who's to benefit. I could refer to, I'm sure you saw the video clips of Biden more or less saying that we'll deal with the pipelines. So I don't know. I would say that this, like I said a while ago, this is a line that can't be backed across. And I think that we're going to feel this, meaning you and I, the response. And I don't necessarily even think that that is necessarily the goal. But anyway, Putin slams West predatory food swindle. And I mean, there are a lot of people that are starting to question all these shortages and all these claims of what's going on. This here says predatory monetary and trade policies pursued by the U.S.-led West are the primary cause of the global food crisis, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said. Western nations are using their wealth and ability to print money to vacuum up food products from the global market, the Russian leader insisted during a government meeting on Tuesday. The unfolding crisis has been in the making for several years, he added. Some leading nations have financial and food policies that led to the result we are observing now, Putin said, adding that the behavior could be described as predatory without any exaggeration. He noted that the U.S. was a net exporter of food products last year, but now it is a net importer. The Russian leader also reiterated his criticism of the Ukraine grain deal, which allowed Kiev to export food via the Black Sea. The arrangement was mediated by the UN and Turkey, but Russia believes it is not working as intended, arguing that shipments do little to alleviate food shortages in needy nations. Putin cited last week's maritime traffic statistics in relation to the scheme, pointing out that the most of the ships carrying Ukrainian grain that didn't report Turkey as their destination went to one of the EU nations. Are they the poorest nations or what? The situation remains the same, embarrassing as it sounds, but this is plain swindle and nothing else, he said. Russia is set to harvest a record amount of grain this year, which is predicted to reach 150 million tons, including some 100 million tons of wheat, Putin said. But Russian food products have a difficult time finding their way to the global market due to Western economic sanctions, as do Russian fertilizers, he added. The West is causing the global food crisis, he claimed. The U.S. and its allies deny that the restrictions they have imposed on Russian trade over the country's military campaign in Ukraine are targeting its food and fertilizer exports. Officials in Moscow say that while those products are technically not banned, restrictions on things like insurance and port services for Russian merchant ships effectively cuts the country's ability, or curb the country's ability to export food and fertilizers. You know, that's the other thing that this nation and in many cases people of this nation have an issue with. I don't know why, but it's almost if some people and the nation, when I say the nation, I'm talking about the government. I'm not talking about every citizen. No, I'm talking about the government when I say the nation. Figured I better clarify that. And some individuals. They like to cause a problem. They like to demand that that problem be fixed. And then keep that problem going just to watch them struggle. And I think we see that a lot in our society today. I think you see that massively in the workforce. See it in almost everything. Everybody's always got the instant answer about what somebody else should do. And it's a big problem in this country. You know, I once heard that citizens are government is a reflection of its citizens. And I think that the same holds true in reverse as well. I think that citizens are also a reflection of their government. If you've got a government that is unlawful, irreconcilable, it's only a matter of time before its citizens become the same way. Same as if there's a lack of moral and ethics in the citizenry, well then, there's a good chance that those elected to office are also going to lack those things. That's why I always talk about how we have to, if we want to fix this, it has to happen in our home. Because that's the truth. If we're not willing to make the change, if we're not willing to actually be what it is that we would like to see, none of that bullshit that a lot of society does, then we have to put our own feet to the fire and make that happen. So either way that goes, whether government's just a reflection of its citizens or citizens are just a reflection of their government, both hold true. And it needs fixed. Doesn't matter who did what, none of that matters. We just need to focus on fixing it. That's all. And instead of doing that, here we go with camel toe. U.S. to deepen engagement in I'm making up stuff. Indo-Pacific, says Vice President. Blech. U.S. Vice President Camel Toe Harris reaffirmed Washington's ironclad commitment to Japan's defense during her official trip to the country on Monday. She met with the Japanese Prime Minister in Tokyo to discuss Beijing's provocations and her camel toe. Damn it. I can't think of the right word. Well, you'd make it smaller. Damn it. I tried. It would have been funny if I could have thought of the one word. Anyway, Harris is leading of a U.S. delegation to the state funeral of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Wait a minute. He was assassinated in July. It says it right here. He is just now getting buried? Are you serious? I mean, did he go on national tour or something? Like a concert tour or something? Dude. Put the guy in the ground already. Wow. Anyway, she's over there. I'm sure that's not helping things any. And, just hopefully she don't get the camel toe caught in the plane engine, because it's a bad day, Let's see. Sorry, I can't help it. I don't want to help it. These people are disgusting. And they need to be treated as such. They need to be talked about as such. Maybe if we were more honest like that, we wouldn't have the problems that we do. If people knew the boundaries, just straightforward, might help. Problem is, you've got one group of people that won't set the damn boundaries, and you got the other group of people that won't respect the damn boundaries. So, anywho, All right. Quite a few headlines today, really. A lot of them related to the pipeline, of course. NASA completes planetary defense test. Germany secures just one tanker of LNG from UAE, says the media. Oh, I missed one, I guess. Japan responds to expulsion of spy diplomat. Eurozone economic growth may drop to zero, says ECB. Increase in Western weapons flow to Ukraine unlikely, says Bloomberg. Donbass Republic estimates timing of referendum results. Ex-Russian president weighs in on use of nukes against Ukraine. Europe to make it through winter without Russian gas, says Bloomberg. I mean, you don't know how, do you? Sweden issues warning over Russian gas pipeline. And it really gets me because there's a lot of people in this country that are not going to be able to make it. They're not going to be able to pay their power bills, their gas bills. And it's all because we're paying to help ship it over there. And folks, this isn't just a Democrat thing. This isn't just a Biden thing, okay? We need to knock that off. Because while we're sitting there fighting back and forth, arguing about whose fault it is, they're both causing the problem. Insane. Let's see. Kazakhstan comments on extradition of Russian draft dodgers. Greece walking into a quagmire, says Erdogan. Kremlin comments on possible causes of Nord Stream damage. China makes Russian energy pledge. Russia set to reap bumper harvest, says Putin. Putin names Russia's top priority in Donbass referendums. Kiev threatens Russian reservists. Let's see. EU threatens foreign observers over Donbass referendums. Berlin may extend nuclear power use, says minister. Apple removes Russian social media giants' apps. Let's see. Covered those. Turkey respond. I guess that's Turkey. I'm not sure. I think that's Turkey. But anyway, responds to vulgar comments by German politician. Here in the last couple of days, I believe they've been spelling it like that, though. Lawmakers push White House to screen U.S. investment in China. Poll reveals attitude of Germans towards skulls. U.S. must end blind engagement with China, says Pompeo. Pompeo. I don't know, we could do that, right? Get some of those, I don't know. Gotta have some maracas too, but, you know, the kettle drum thingies, you know, right? Pompeo. Come on, it'd be fun. It's Saturday night. Let's get together. Let's do a Pompeo session, right? Everybody bring their drums. I know. Take another pinch hit. Do something. But get out of that bad trip, man. Donbass referendum's results revealed. And lastly, Ukraine's Kherson votes to join Russia. know, that would be like, reminds me of the other song, Deo, Deo, Pompeo. It'd be fun, why not? I don't know. Just keep getting ready. I mean that. Keep at it. Don't stop life. Keep moving forward as you can, and I say that, and it's not easy anymore. I think it's getting harder and harder for the average Joe to continue pushing forward. I think that the walls of the room are closing in on the people of this nation. And I think people's incomes are going to continue to suffer. And I think their bills are going to continue to rise. I don't see this being a good winter. Do everything you can now to build a foundation to get through a rough patch this year, because I have a feeling we got it coming. When there were several things that I was watching the timing of as they were unfolding. This conflict in Ukraine was one of them. And it was like, as things were happening, as things were getting underway, I was like, well, at least it's happening now. Meaning, kind of towards the beginning of summer, we still had summer. We don't have summer no more. And things are much harder in the winter. So just be ready. Make sure you've got some way, some alternative form of heat. Please. Please make it something more than a tea light candles in a clay pot. Please. Take that meme and throw it in the trash where it belongs. I can't believe every year that goes around. Yeah, but this person made a video. One of them's Alaska Prepper. He did it. Why are we in a competition to see what the absolute most minimum thing we can do for our survival? Why are we in a competition for that? Why aren't we just saying, yeah, it might not be a real good idea? You might want to get something that you know is going to be able to keep you alive. Right? I don't understand this. He didn't have nothing but a book of matches and his Bowie knife, and he survived that winter by staying warm with a box of toothpicks. I'm serious. To me, it's mind-blowing. Why? I guess they think it's impressive, and I guess maybe it is to some people. But you'd probably, and this is probably going to hurt some feelings, but you probably got to be pretty simple-minded if you're impressed with the fact that somebody could take candles and warm a room up by 2 or 3 degrees. It ain't necessarily going to save your life, though. So, the other thing that these idiots that make these videos don't do is whatever it is they're doing for an extended period of time. Hey, it's one thing to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to shut my heat off, and for 4 hours or 5 hours, I'm going to like the, right, and at the end of that 4 or 5 hours, you walk up to the wall, you flip that switch, and the place is warmed back up in about 5 or 10 minutes, and everything's good. I want to see these people like Alaska Prepper do it for a week. Make sure they film your corpse at the end of that week. Frustrating. It's frustrating when I watch the dangerous information that's put out there by people that just want to profit off of it, whether it be profit for their ego, whether it be monetary profit, whatever kicks they're getting, and putting people's lives at risk, and then telling you that I'm a bad guy for calling it out. Unbelievable. Anyway, I am going to get the hell out of here. Relax the rest of the evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Sorry for all my rambling. Just gets frustrating. It's a frustrating world right now. Anyway, I am out of here. I appreciate everybody coming. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.